Hello everyone, it's good salutations and wonderful to see you here. Welcome to another episode of George Reviews. I know I've been a little bit behind on my Plur1bus talk, but today on this video I want to discuss the mid to late season review, how I think it's going, talk about the episodes a little bit and things of that nature. Episodes 5, 6, and 7 of Plur1bus. Let's go. So a lot's been happening on Plur1bus, a lot's not been happening, but I think there's a reason for that stagnation, so to speak. There's a reason for it to take its time, pacing out itself within its storytelling to show that kind of visual emotion, that visual determination of some of the characters and things like that. I've really been enjoying that aspect. A lot of people calling it slow can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. The same people who call Better Call Saul slow can fuck off. Seriously, just don't watch the show if you're wanting action every 10 fucking seconds, you fucking fucks. But on a cheerier note, I have been really enjoying these episodes of Plur1bus. I think they're really great, showing the range of Bray Seahorn and the range of Carlos, who's played Manosis. Sorry if I'm butchering that. I'm just going to call him the man from Paraguay. It's going to be a lot easier for me instead of butchering names. I know I'll get it right this sometime, but you know, their paths are really converging as we saw in the last episode, episode 7. So episode 5, Got Milk, kind of showed the hive mind leaving Carol, and she was more than happy for that to happen, at least at first. She, just begins her isolation, and we get a really awesome cameo as the voicemail from Patrick Fabian, aka Howard Hamlin from Better Call Saul. It was really great to see him pop up in this.
At the tone, you can leave a message to request anything you might need. We'll do our best to provide it.
I wish he was playing more of a character because he's such a great actor. I know him all the way from Saved by the Bell to college years, so I'm definitely familiar with his acting ability, and I think he's great. And maybe this person on the voicemail can become a character. We shall see, but I digress. Really cool to see him pop up in this. I thought it was really great. So we see Carol just kind of investigating, trying to manage herself away from the hive mind. She's being kind of held against her will in isolation, even though she quite enjoys that kind of alone time. At first, I know I enjoy my isolation, but there are sometimes I need to get out there, converge with other people, and have conversations and things like that. But for the most part, I definitely understand Carol's plight in terms of her determination to want to restore this. From everything from the episode 4 of Please Carol was very fast-paced, comparatively anyways, and very disturbing, of how she drugs Osha and everything. So, this is kind of the fallout for that. The hive mind needs their space, so she kind of is left to her own devices, and she goes out to kind of seek out what is really going on. And as the episode title says, Got Milk, she sees that these people can't get enough of drinking this substance of milk. Or is it really milk, or is it something else? She definitely examines it, she investigates it, and it brings her to a warehouse, and she makes a shocking discovery, which we don't know. We learn that discovery in the following episode, HCP, that there are human remains in this facility, and what are they doing with those human remains? You catch up with the Suave Casanova guy. He is living his James Bond lifestyle in Vegas at the hotel Elvis Presley stayed at, and he, is making the hive mind kind of placate to his needs of wanting to be a Suave Casanova, to be a James Bond, so to speak. So he has this demonstration, this kind of play date with all these beautiful women and all these people as Bond villains and the casino table, and we find out shortly that it is all for play, all for show. And then he kind of goes off with his beautiful women, and so Carol shows up and they all leave him sadly. And then we have the catch-up conversation with the Suave Casanova and Carol. Of course, he knows that they are eating people. We get a really delightful scene with John Cena, or this individual who used to be John Cena, explaining everything. I thought that was a really cool touch and a really interesting tidbit. We also find out Suave Casanova has been communicating via Zoom with the other unaffected, the immune people, and Carol definitely feels left out. This is where her isolation kind of goes into a tailspin. She has a moment in the bathroom where she just sobs uncontrollably. A really great performance by Ray Seahorn, and really kind of showing the dilemma of her, of this isolation, that she is being left out, that she's being cast out, and it is very sad for her. It is very sad to see. So we also find out from the Suave Casanova that they need their consent to get injected with something that would turn them over to the hive mind. And so they cannot create harm. As John Cena says in the video, they cannot pluck an apple off a tree. It has to fall. And as soon as it falls, they will, of course, consume it. And, they grind up all the dead bodies that they find, back to episode 2, where we see them collecting bodies in a milk truck and things like that. Really great foreshadowing by Vince Gilligan and the team and everything. I thought that was really awesome and really amazing. And so we get a lot of new information, and, the Suave Casanova says something to the effect that they, want Carol to turn around, to come around to embracing the hive mind, and she just says fuck him and drives off. Manusos, aka the guy from Paraguay, receives one of the videos Carol made from episode 5, and he is very curious and very invigorated to learn that this thing can be reversed, that he wants to take part in the saving of humanity. So he ends up packing his things, going in his little car, and hoping to drive to New Mexico from Paraguay to see Carol, to do what he can to help. We get a little scene with his mother, that she just wants to help. She is the lady that's been giving him food all this time, and he says, "You're not my mother was a bitch." So we understand, some of his backstory, that he had not a great relationship with his mother, and, he sees this, turnaround as just insulting, and he drives off. We get a really cool, I think it's a Spanish cover or some foreign language cover of The Doors' People Are Strange. We also got a cover in episode 2 from John Lennon's Nobody Told Me. That was also in Spanish or another language. So I'm really loving these old classic rock songs being interpreted in this other language. And it took me a while to kind of figure out during the end credits what it was. The melody for People Are Strange is very familiar, and it was like, oh wow, that's really cool. So that's just a little tidbit I really enjoy, a little detail of the song choice at the end credits. But then we get into episode 7, The Gap, and we see Carol continuing in her isolation. She wants an ice cold Gatorade. She stops. She wants the pump at the gas station to be turned on. She keeps calling the voicemail. We get that delightful voicemail from Patrick Fabian. And, a lot of people are saying, I tend to agree, that, she listens to the voicemail in full because she wants some kind of human connection. She wants some company, so to speak. And that was, I think that's a very subtle but very interesting detail. We got Manusos, or the guy from Paraguay, on his journey. As he's driving, he is siphoning gas from other cars into a gas tank. He's leaving money for those cars, even though money is not, a primary thing that is needed in this world. It's the principle of the thing. I think this is a man of very unique and very moral principles, and I think, I'm loving what we're showing of him. The hive mind keeps trying to help him, but he keeps refusing, ignoring them. There's one moment where he's in the jungle, where they say, we can transport you, we can take you to New Mexico overnight, and he basically claps back at him, saying that everything of theirs is stolen. It's stolen land, it's stolen property, it's stolen humanity. He, burns his car in defiance. It's just a very, principled character, and I really want to dive deeper. I want to know more about this character, because I think they first of all, they picked a great actor to portray him, you know, someone stoic and subtle, but has that kind of underlying anger and resentment to him that's, you know, spoken so well. And, you know, he goes off on his journey. He is plagued with a lot of tribulations. He finds these spiked trees and he gets stabbed. He falls on one and becomes stabbed. And he cauterizes his wound. And, you know, he is dehydrated. He is losing, you know, his life, so to speak, and he's picked up by a helicopter. And all the while we get a time jump of 48 days. Carol is still in isolation. She's going kind of crazy. She has all these fireworks shows, the fireworks that she took from the gas station. She's playing golf on top of a building, you know, swinging the golf balls into windows, you know, just her act of rebellion, defiance. And ultimately, you know, after a firework kind of goes off by her face and burns her house a little bit, you know, she's just completely losing it. You know, she's kind of on a suicidal mission. You know, you can really tell. And I love like these little subtle emotional details that are visual, that aren't spoken. She's not complaining. She's not like, oh, poor me. Why isn't, you know, they're not doing anything like that, which is great. You know, show, don't tell is a really great rule in screenwriting and writing and things like that. So, you know, I really appreciate that on the details of the show. She fixes up her house and she just kind of breaks down and wants them to come back. And then we finally get the return of Zosha. And all we see is Carol just embracing her and crying into her arms. We see kind of a smile, a sinister smile maybe. Maybe this was all a big thing of manipulation by the hive mind. You know, maybe they are growing and evolving and becoming something else that, you know, could be manipulating Carol for her to join them. And so I find that really, really interesting. Of course, that's all speculative at this point. We only have 2 more episodes left in the season. I can't believe it. It's gone by so fast. And so, yes, a lot has happened, but a lot has happened. All the stakes here are very emotional, are very global at the same time, but, you know, it's taking its time and it needs to take its time. You know, Breaking Bad took its time. Better Call Saul definitely took its time in the best ways possible. We get to spend time with these characters in isolation. We get to spend time with their emotions, with their ups and downs and everything like that. And I just cannot applaud the creative team, Vince Gilligan and everyone, you know, for making that creative choice. I'm enjoying it. As I said, the detractors who are saying it's too slow, that are losing patience, can fuck off. They can go to hell. I don't care. It's a great show. I'm enjoying it. I enjoy the slow burn pace. I enjoy slow burn things. What can I say? But yeah, those are definitely my thoughts on these group of episodes on Plur1bus. And I'm just, you know, I'm just in love with the show. I think the show has staying power. It go on for 4 or 5 seasons, or however long Vince Gilligan and Ray Seahorn want to go. I think that's just really great that he's, you know, putting it in her hands and she's just riding away with it. She's going to steal those Emmys. She's going to steal those nominations. She's already getting nominated. So, you know, I think that's a clear sign that she's, you know, a force to be reckoned with come awards season. But those are my thoughts on Plur1bus so far, the mid-season to late season review. What do you think of Plur1bus so far? Are you loving it? Are you not loving it? If not, fuck off. I mean, you know. Of course, keep it cordial. Let me know down there in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you'd be so kind. My name is George Ray. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Please remember to keep calm, keep cool, keep chill. Embrace great cinema, embrace Plur1bus. I'll see you on the next video. Until then, peace out.